Caught my girlfriend texting her ex about how much she missed him, I called off the wedding. I, a 26-year-old man, had been in a relationship with a woman, 27, whom I'll call Mia. We were supposed to get married next month, but just moments ago I discovered her sexting with her former partner. The pain is indescribable. Let me give you some background. Mia and I had been together for over 4 years. Last summer she brought up the idea of marriage, which honestly took me by surprise. It's not that I wasn't serious about our relationship, I just hadn't thought about marriage yet. But when she mentioned it, I thought, why not? I loved her, and we had known each other for 5 years, dating for 4. It felt like the next logical step, so we began planning a spring wedding. This year, I bought her a beautiful engagement ring to make it official, and she gave me a ring on Valentine's Day. Everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. I can't believe she's been doing this behind my back. I am sorry for unloading all of this, but it's been a whirlwind. Mia left for a 2-day work trip this morning. While I was working from home, I had to use our shared computer since my laptop crashed. Mia works for a bank and isn't allowed to check her personal email on her work laptop, so she often uses the home PC. I usually have my personal email logged into my office laptop, and I also have a tablet, so I rarely use the PC. Unfortunately for her, my laptop malfunctioned and I had to log into the home computer. As I logged in, I didn't notice that her email was open in another minimized browser. After a while, I saw an email pop up from a guy named Jake. I was too tired to think of a fake name, so Jake, if you are reading this, screw you. I knew Jake was her college sweetheart and ex-boyfriend. They had dated throughout their college years, and the reason she gave me for their breakup was that he moved back to his home country. It was almost a year after their breakup that Mia and I met, and after a year of knowing each other, I asked her out. In the early days of our relationship, I talked about my past, which didn't end well. I asked her how she felt about her ex, and she told me they broke up amicably and that she wasn't bitter about him at all. For some reason, that bothered me, but I didn't think much of it at the time. I asked her if she was still in touch with him, and she denied it. That was the end of that conversation. She didn't give me any reason to press further. Fast forward to today, and I saw Jake's email. I probably opened it without thinking twice, and oh my God, it made me feel sick. It was an endless chain of emails, the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. She was talking about how she missed him every day and how she satisfied herself thinking about the wild nights they had together. I mostly read her replies more than his. It was all about sexual pleasure shows she touches herself and how she gets wet just thinking about him. She described how she wanted to be touched by him, and apparently she craved how he used to be intimate with her. Her exact words were, "My body craves you. It's been ages since someone made me feel that way." I felt like I was going to throw up after reading this. For a moment, I thought, is this really her? Or has her account been hacked? But it was a long, ongoing thread that had been happening for months. I can't believe this is the woman I was madly in love with. Let me tell you, she's a liar. We occasionally explored different aspects of intimacy, but she always said she didn't enjoy certain things, claiming it hurt her. I respected her boundaries and never forced her into anything she wasn't comfortable with. And now, here she is, yearning for something she claimed she didn't want. 2 days ago, she had emailed him, "I don't know why I am marrying this guy when your size is half of yours." To this, he responded, "Poor guy." Can you imagine the pain I went through while reading that? Even while writing this, I want to bury myself somewhere. How can I possibly face myself knowing that my fiancé was talking trash about me with her ex without giving me any clue? I keep pinching myself to check if this is actually happening or if it's just a bad dream. It's kind of funny that on the same day she wrote that email, she told me, "You know my body so well, you are amazing in bed." Those were her exact words. Does this mean she was lying to me before? To clarify, there has never been any problem in our intimate life. She often said she didn't have a high libido, and we typically engaged in intimacy 2 to 3 times a week. She would go on 2-day work trips every 6 months, and when she returned, she would be eager for us to reconnect. I always looked forward to satisfying her after those trips, but now I am left questioning everything. I am at a crossroads, unsure of how to react. Should I wait for her to return and confront her about this betrayal, or should I just cut ties completely? Honestly, here is so much rage inside me right now that I feel like smashing everything in sight. I haven't spoken to anyone about this yet, not my family, not my friends. I am getting married next month, and I have no idea how to explain this to anyone. How do I tell them that my fiancé was sexting her ex while lying next to me? I want to chase her down wherever she is, slam the screen in her face, and demand an explanation. Has anyone else been in a situation like this? How did you deal with it? I am freaking out. Edit. I feel like I am losing my mind. My emotions are all over the place. It's like riding a wave. One moment I think I should wait for her to come back, and the next moment I am driven to the brink of insanity and want to disappear. I haven't moved from this chair for the last 2 hours since discovering her betrayal. I realize I've wasted enough time just thinking about the situation. It's time for action. Hey, at least I found out before making it official. She's got enough energy to keep up with her ex while planning a wedding talk about multitasking. And then T here is Jake, the guy who moved countries to get away yet still manages to worm his way back into her inbox. What a guy. I think the only thing I can do is leave. I'll cancel the wedding, and when people ask why, I'll tell them the truth. She just can't let go of the past. I deserve someone who is all in mind, body, and heart. Update 1. Hello, everyone. I shut down the PC and then reopened this sub on my phone 6 hours later, and boom, 50+ comments. Sorry for not being able to reply to each one of you, but I want to thank all of you who took the time to read my rambling story and offer advice. Some of you picked up on me saying I was never engaged. How could I call her my fiancé? I didn't know what social structure you guys follow, but in our case, since we were about to get married and had exchanged rings, I considered myself engaged. People have asked if there were any red flags. No, absolutely none. She was the one who brought up the topic of marriage. In the last 4 years of dating, there wasn't a single sign of deceit. It was a perfect relationship, at least that's how she made it look. That's why I was so shocked. My first relationship also ended with my girlfriend cheating on me, but it wasn't a shock because she displayed red flags openly. I caught her cheating at the very first instance. So in this relationship, I always kept my eyes and ears open. Talking about updates, like most of you suggested, I ghosted her. There was nothing left to confront after reading those long threads and emails. I want to thank a particular user for a great suggestion. I downloaded the emails and forwarded them to my phone. Even though I didn't need any advice yet, it never hurts to have it in my back pocket, just in case. I printed it out and kept it as a backup. Here comes the action. First, I changed the locks on the house. I called my manager and told him about the crisis, not in detail, just at a surface level that I had to call off my wedding. He sort of understood and gave me 2 weeks to get my life together. I packed my stuff and booked a cheap motel for a month, getting a discounted rate because of the long stay. Next, I packed all of her things and sent them to storage, keeping the storage receipt at the door. She syncs her contacts and photos on her Gmail, so I deleted all of them. We had a joint account where we were putting money for our wedding, and I took out my share, which was about 70%. I canceled the venue and got a 50% refund. I canceled all the other bookings, photographer, caterer, etc., and got refunds from most of them. Basically, I utilized those 2 days to their full potential. During those 2 days, she texted and called me as usual. But my ghosting had already started. I didn't block her yet. I wanted to see how she would react to all of this if she figured it out. There was a series of messages from her during those 2 days. I lost all my contacts from my phone. All the photos are gone. I guess my phone is malfunctioning. Thank God it's backed up at the home PC. What's up with you? Are you okay? Why aren't you replying? Why are you mad at me? What happened to you? Why aren't you responding to my calls? She even contacted my parents and brother to check if I was fine. They had no clue about any of this. My mom immediately called me, and I answered her phone, telling her not to say a word to Mia, just to tell her that I didn't respond. I promised her I would come home the next day and explain everything. The texts from Mia continued. Are you safe? Say something, babe. You are scaring me. Safe? My butt. As if she cared. This went on for 2 days until she arrived home to find the house locked and her key non-functional. I went to my parents and informed them I was calling off the wedding. I told them Mia had been emotionally cheating on me, that was it, no details. They understood and didn't probe further. They were sure to support me through all means, only if I promised not to harm myself. I assured them I had crossed that phase and was safe in that regard. Here is the meaty part. Mia lost her mind when she saw the house was locked. She found the storage paper at the doorstep, which was signed by me. I had predicted her reaction. She relentlessly bombarded my phone with calls and voicemails. What the hell happened? Are you at home? Why did you do this to me? Did you find someone else? After making fun of me with her ex, she had the audacity to turn it around and question if I was cheating on her. It was kind of satisfying to see her go through waves of emotions. Her texts and voicemails reflected that. At one point, she started begging, "Baby, why are you doing this to me? I love you." We're going to get married next month. Whatever issue you have, we can surely resolve it then." In another moment, she switched to anger. "You are a coward and a juvenile son of a witch. You are no man. You chose to ghost me." She was projecting her insecurities onto me. When she eventually realized that I had deleted her contacts and her pictures and withdrawn my share from the joint account, she went crazy. She turned explosive, and that's when I blocked her. She had already hurt me enough. People mentioned in the comments that I dodged a bullet, and indeed I did. I've been living in a motel until I figure out what's next. Thank God the wedding invites hadn't gone out yet. Sending a cancellation would have been another hassle with so many questions and explanations. I haven't received a call from any of her family members, friends, or acquaintances. I haven't shown her emails to anyone yet, but I've kept them safe. I've blocked her from everywhere and exited all the groups we were a part of. Thanks for all the comments. The last day was worse. Today is no better, but lighter than that day. I hope to come out of this. I feel like that's such a cheater thing to do if someone accuses you of being unfaithful. Accuse them right back. Here is to me for turning what could have been a disastrous wedding into a triumph of self-respect and quick thinking. I've shown resilience, intelligence, and a killer sense of humor. I'll keep riding this wave of liberation, and before I know it, I'll be looking back on this as the best bullet I ever dodged. Update 2. Hello all, it's been a while since then. Starting from where I left off, after being denied entry into the house, Mia thought I was inside. She banged on the door and window and only stopped when the angry neighbors came out to shut her up. She then showed up at my workplace. I had predicted her move, so I took a break. I informed the reception that any visitors who came for me should know that I was on sabbatical for the near future. Mia left a note for me at the reception. It read, "You can't hide from me, you son of a witch. I am going to hunt you down and rip you apart." I was floored by her shamelessness. After what she had done to me, she had the audacity to write such things. It boiled my blood, and I wanted to hunt her down and rip her apart, but I knew it was her move. She deliberately wrote that. She's a manipulative witch who knows how to use her words to play with others' emotions. I took a deep breath and talked myself out of this thought. All of this was making me crazy, so I called my manager and asked if I could work remotely instead of sulking in bed all day. He approved it and told me to take it easy. I worked remotely for a month. The motel was in a remote corner of town. I intentionally chose a secluded place because I didn't want to see any familiar faces. After locking myself up for a couple of days, I stepped out, roamed around in the nearby woods, and visited an abandoned lake. It was a sort of nature therapy, and I thought I was making progress until the wedding day arrived. Not everyone remembered, but some of my close friends and relatives did recall that the wedding was around the corner and there was no invite. Slowly, I informed my close friends about what happened, and they were equally shocked. None of them saw it coming. My best friend had spent the most amount of time with us, so I asked him to tell me honestly if he ever felt that Mia wanted to be with her ex or if she was harboring any resentment towards me. He said he thought of her as perfect wife material. Now, I don't know if we were fools or if she was a player who hid it well. It was after weeks of talking about the cheating that I thought it would help me move on, but it only made me more miserable. One more thing. We had booked our honeymoon to Hawaii. When I was canceling the other wedding stuff, I tried to cancel this too, but it was non-refundable. The trip was uninsured, so I left it as is. I decided to go for it, but I was worried about Mia following me there because she had the details of the trip itinerary. You never know, she could think of relaxing her mind through this trip. But I had deleted her inbox and the booking was done through my account, so there was no way for her to access it from her end. So here I am, sitting in a cozy cabin amidst the Alaskan scenic beauty and writing about my miserable life. I hope it ends here, and I can leave all my worries and insecurities behind in this dense wood. Showing up at your workplace and leaving a note that sounds like it was penned by a serial killer, that's some next-level shamelessness. When the wedding day rolled around, I had to spill the beans to my friends and family. Ouch, but it had to be done. Nothing like crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Let's hope the only thing I catch out here amidst the Alaskan beauty is a breath of fresh air and not Mia lurking in the shadows with another psychotic note. Update 3. Life is funny. Guess whom I bumped into? Yes, my ex Mia. She did follow me here because she couldn't find me anywhere in the city. The encounter was spooky, at least in the first 30 seconds. I was walking around the deserted landscape, and from a distance I saw a woman approaching me. I didn't think much of it, but as she came closer I realized it was Mia. It was both funny and frustrating at the same time. What could I do? I couldn't run away from her. The only sensible thing to do was walk away, but she ran and stopped me. I said I didn't want to talk, but she kept yelling that she searched for me everywhere in town. She left me a note at my office to prey on my vulnerability and took a flight to Alaska, only to be confirmed at the hotel that I had checked in. The trip was going to end tomorrow, and yesterday it clicked for her that I might be traveling alone on our honeymoon. She called the airlines and the hotel, giving my details to check if I had canceled the trip. The plan was on. She took a bet, booked the first flight to Alaska, and got the details from the hotel about my day's plan, then came chasing me. She ranted and followed me for half a mile. I turned back and said, "I don't care. You need to leave." She said she wouldn't until I heard her side of the story. I told her I didn't need to know more. After a while I was drained not only from marching away, but from all sorts of emotions flowing down my nerves, I stood and asked her to complete her side of the story. She said, "How could you ghost me like this? We were supposed to be married last week. You cannot do this to us. If there was something bothering you, we could sit and discuss it. Have I ever ignored your feelings? No, right? You cannot break up with me just for this trivial matter. I am turning 28 in 3 months. I need to get pregnant and have a baby before I turn 30. We cannot ruin our plan. You know how much I love you." Her last 2 sentences struck a nerve. I screamed, "Really? This is what you want to talk about? Gaslighting the situation and portraying me as the bad guy? You are a narcissistic and self-centered woman. You don't care about anyone but yourself and your stupid life goals, getting married before 28 and having a baby before 30. At what point are you going to talk about your cheating?" She snapped back. "That's not cheating. I've never met him after college. I've never cheated on you, not even at first base." With that, the waterworks began. However, that didn't stop me from screaming back at her. Sexting your ex, talking about your sexual fantasies, touching yourself while thinking about him, and then telling him you want to get drilled by him, all of that comes under cheating. Moreover, you mocked me. You lied to him that I don't do anal. You are manipulative. You lied to get sympathy. This was the sober version of what I actually said to her. She seemed shocked, saying, "You can't just make things up. I definitely didn't mean those things. You are blowing this out of proportion." You know what? She even winked at me and whispered, "It was just for fun, you know? I was just trying to spice things up between us." I yelled, "How is mocking me supposed to spice things up?" But she couldn't justify herself. She kept repeating that she didn't mean anything, that it was all a lie, that she loved me, and it was all just talk. I cut her off and said, "I am not interested in any explanation. I have lost all love, respect, and everything for you." It was then that she realized she had seriously screwed up big time. She apologized and pleaded for another chance, claiming that she never physically cheated on me and that she had invested so many years in this relationship to fulfill her life goals, married by 28, baby by 30, and now I couldn't spoil it. She's a psycho. I know she tried to follow me to the resort, but I shooed her away and threatened to report her as a trespasser when she tried to break into my cabin. She slumped onto the ground, breaking down and howling like a wild animal. I didn't even turn back to check if she was okay. I headed back to the resort. I have an early morning flight back home. I've packed my stuff, and the staff will drop me off at the airport in the next 2 hours. I don't think I can sleep, but I feel relieved and fresh. Maybe the confrontation and the encounter gave me a sense of closure, even though I wasn't seeking it. I guess I can now go back to my home from the motel. I don't think she's ever going to come back. Maybe I'll cancel the lease because the house is too big for a single person. I'll move to a smaller apartment. Maybe I'll continue to journal about my life. It feels good to write down my emotions. Thanks for reading this. I am looking forward to staying in touch and contributing to the community. Cheers! Well, she definitely managed to spice things up, but not in the way I would have hoped. Bumping into her in Alaska? Seriously? I feel like I need to enter the witness protection program. If she can find me in Alaska, she can find me anywhere. Good luck with that one, right? What lengths have you gone to get away from a stalker ex? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.